Yo, this is Nappy, and I got some incredible news. Due to the help of a lot of people, solo Queenswalk has now been crafted, and it's possible for the first time since the launch of Renegades. Renegades patched the ability to drop the heart using Transcendence, and since then, people thought that the encounter was no longer possible. That was until we found about UCG. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to link a video in the description for you to get caught up. In that video, I said that I would talk a little bit about solo Queenswalk in a future video, but due to an unexpected discovery, Queenswalk just happened to get crafted. The whole crafting experience was incredible. I was lucky enough to be a part of it, but we had a big group of people who all worked together with no strat hiding to get this done, and through a lot of trial and error, Tim from D2 Solo Raids found the method. If you guys want to hear about the story of this solo getting crafted, it's a really interesting story. Make sure to drop a like on this guide so that I know. But if you don't want to see the video, then hit subscribe. Also so that I know. Anyways, that's enough yap. Here's how you get the solo done. Alright, so I'm going to start off by going over loadouts. You're going to have two loadouts that I'm going to call the yellow loadout and then the red loadout. I'll have both of these in the description for you to copy, but to be honest, there's not a whole lot going on for either loadout. The first loadout is going to be the yellow loadout, and you don't need any armor mods on. The only thing that really matters is that you have transversive steps on, with preferably 3 enhanced athletic mods. For your weapons, you're going to want to run an eager edge sword, and then preferably if you have a gizmo, mountaintop, or lethanum to run in the first slot, or if you have a theodolite, run that in the second slot. Just any GL that you can use to move around. In the subclass, the only thing that matters is that you're running Icarus Stash, everything else is optional. On our second loadout, this is the red loadout, you're also going to run transversive steps with 3 enhanced athletic mods. And then your armor mods don't necessarily matter, you don't need to copy my armor mods here. You're not really going to be using them for anything in the encounter other than using them to get UCG a little bit quicker. But to be honest, this doesn't save that much time, but if you're going to be doing a lot of attempts, it's probably worth it just to get a little bit closer to UCG. For the weapons, you're going to want a bipod rocket launcher. You don't have to use a bipod rocket launcher, you can use a normal rocket launcher if you rally up in a different instance each time you attempt, but that's just going to be a lot of wasted time whenever you can just use a bipod rocket launcher. For the subclass, nothing matters except for Soul Siphon. So this is the crux of the solo. What this allows you to do is proc UCG very quickly without ads, and the UCG with Soul Siphon acts a little bit differently than other UCGs. So what this aspect allows us to do is whenever we pick up the heart, we will pocket the heart and we'll be able to start the encounter from anywhere. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the loadouts. Alright, so we're going to start off by getting a checkpoint. I'm using Haas. This is the solo raid bot on Twitch. Alright, so now that we have loaded into the instance, we're not actually going to do anything just yet. We're going to re-instance. But take note of where Riven is spawning in. So she's slightly to the right and she's all the way in the back. Whenever we reload into the instance, we're going to have to book it over towards where she spawns in. The goal of doing that is to hopefully have her spawn on top of us and it'll push us out of bounds because we need to start the encounter out of bounds. So I'm going to re-instance and show you what that looks like. Alright, so we're currently re-instancing and you'll notice that right whenever I gain control of my character, then I'm going to book it towards where Riven spawns in. So you'll notice we spawned inside of Riven, and what this allows us to do is it allows us to go above her, and now we're out of bounds. Now that we're out of bounds, you're just going to follow my route, and we're going to go over towards the heart, and we're going to be underneath it. So on Riven, you can get on this ledge on the right side here, and you can take this all the way down, and whenever you get to the edge, whether you have Icarus Stash, a Eager Edge, or just Burst Glide, you're going to want to somehow get on top of a invisible platform that's right here. So if you just go towards the heart and make sure your head slides across this floor here, you should land on it every time. But the next step is to get chosen. So if you're not automatically chosen, you can make your way over towards the right here and there'll be this little slot that you can stick in, and it'll give you chosen. So once you get chosen, you're going to make your way back over towards the interact prompt so you can see pick up Heartstone, and you're going to swap to your second loadout. This is the red loadout. Now that we can see the interact prompt, we're going to swap to our second loadout. This is the red loadout, and this is the loadout that has Soul Siphon on. But once you're on this loadout, you're going to make sure you're holding your rocket launcher. Whatever you do, you're not going to swap off or stow the rocket launcher until we start the encounter. Once you've made sure you're holding your rocket launcher, you're going to go to your subclass, and you're going to take on and off Soul Siphon around 70 times. So I'm just going to speed this up until I'm done. So what that did is it put our character into UCG, which is a state where we won't be able to take on any buffs or debuffs, including the heart for some reason. But once you've done that, you're going to get the interact prompt, and you're just going to interact. If you see the interact prompt reappear after you try and pick it up and you don't pick up the heart right away, then you did this correctly. And if that didn't happen, then you're going to have to reinstance. But now what we want to do is we want to make our way over towards the vault encounter while out of bounds. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to get over on this left side. And this really helps if you have strafe glide on, but we're going to need to wrap around back onto that ledge that we used to get here in the first place. If you go too far to the left, you're going to fall off, which is going to ruin things. But if you jump out this way and then hook around with your strafe glide, you should be able to make it like this. Now we're going to make our way back up, and we need to get around Riven's face. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to get over here onto this side of Riven, and we're just going to jump around this kind of, I don't know what this is, but we're just going to jump around it. So once we're on Riven's face, we're just going to get up here, and we're going to try and make our way into the ceiling. So the way we're just going to do that, we're just going to jump up, and there'll be this ceiling thing that you can jump through. But once you're up here, you're going to run around the roof. And whenever you get to these pillars, there's a bunch of invisible walls, so just jump over them. If you're curious about where we are, this area right here is the Flora's lava room. So that means just over there, that's vault. So we're just going to go around on this right side. And you'll see this dome on the right with this mushroom looking thing, but we're just going to go and we're going to set our spawn point on top of this dome. To set your spawn, you're just going to chill here for a little bit, or you can walk around. Just make sure your spawn is set. Once you set your spawn, you're going to stay on void and don't touch anything other than your jump. We're going to want to get on burst glide. The goal is to make it over this dome, but the reason why I'm not going right now is because it's a joining allies zone. So whenever we get inside of that, we're going to get JA, and it'll last for 5 seconds. Our goal is to make it onto the other side of that dome, and whenever our joining allies gets low, we're just going to rocket our feet. And what it'll do is it'll kill us, but it'll start the encounter, and it'll drop the heart where we were. After you rocket your feet, you're going to die, and you'll respawn right over here. While you're waiting to get respawned, you are going to switch to your movement loadout. That's your yellow loadout. And whenever you respawn, the heart is going to have rolled down that dome, and you're going to eager an Ikdash over towards the heart. So I'll show you what that looks like right now. So this was my actual clear, but I'm going to show you the path that you're going to take afterwards. You want to position yourself as far forward and away from the heart as possible, but to where you can still pick it up. So you can see I have the interact prompt right there, and I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to run. So you'll see that there's 2 rocks that are meeting at this kind of corner thing that I'm running towards. You're just going to fall down there, but make sure you don't jump, because every second here matters. So jumping just gives you extra height that you don't need. But you'll see I fall down, and make sure you don't land on any ledges as you're falling down. But whenever you fall, you're going to land right next to a little slot that can take you into the chest room. but be careful to not fall down inside the pillar. Just look for the big opening. You're going to fall down that. You're going to have just enough time to either go up this first set of stairs and jump towards the second set and mantle and then go dunk, or you can go over towards the right side onto the tree and climb up that way. Both ways are about the same amount of time. If you're comfortable doing the tree, do that, but if you think it's a little bit too risky, just go for the stairs. But once you make it here, it's literally just as simple as dunking, and then hopefully you would have completed solo Queenswalk. So if you want written instructions in the D2 Solo Raids Discord, there's a channel Queenswalk Crafted where I have a more in-depth explanation of everything, but it's more written down. Hopefully there's going to be a channel soon dedicated for solo Queenswalk, but for the meantime you'll have to just scroll up. But anyways, that's pretty much it. The solo will just take some time to get used to the movement, but eventually you'll probably get your clear in. Huge shout out to Tim and a bunch of other people in the DT Solo Raids community for finding this. But again, if you want to see a video over the history of how all this came to be, just let me know. But that's it for this guide. See you in the next one.